We're going from our first 100%, and what better game to do it than High on Life? Seriously, this game's humor was so out of pocket and honestly perfectly aligned with mine. So let's just dive in. I entered the game expecting something to do with big booty bitch aliens, but instead got greeted with my divorce attorney.
Than ever, she's sending a bunch of her new blood-sucking boyfriends out.
I initially thought this little arcade game was the entirety of High on Life, until my dumb, blonde, slut-ass sister started knocking on my door and proceeded to offer me a bump of that coochie crack, which I turned down in order to pick my character. Eventually, I settled on the closest thing I could get looking to me and locked it in. Right as we finished character customization, we got invaded by some G3 aliens, which of course are the main enemies of the game, where I managed to find this little gun that kinda looks like a butt toy and actually talks. After clearing out the G3 base, Kenny tells us to grab the teleport machine and hook it up to the house, which ended up warping our whole house to Blim City.
Welcome to fucking space!
Where we meet this legendary bounty hunter, Gene Zaruthian, who kinda looks like he has limp dildos as eyes. But in any case, we make a deal with him where if I die, he gets to keep the house, in turn giving us his bounty hunter gear. And with that, he set up the bounty 6,000 and I accepted my first bounty, 9 Torg. On my way to the slums to find her, I meet this annoying ass kid who kept pushing me like he was some YN, so I touched him like one. On the way there, I used Kenny's cum shot to shoot an enemy in the air 5 times, which gave me an achievement. Right before I got to fight Torgor, I had to grab a knife, who loved guts. Like, actual guts. Shit got his stud throbbing. After a little searching, we met up with 9 Torg, and I was creaming with excitement fighting her because it was actually a cool boss, but kinda easy. And afterwards, I found 5 Torg just hanging there, so I touched her too. I used my talking wiener to grab one of 9 Torg's limbs and headed back to the bounty 6,000 to turn in the bounty and to slap Gene because Knifey asked me so nicely. So in order to get all the trophies in one run, I have to accept Douglas's bounty first. On the way there, not much really happened. I got cummed on by some fat rat and helped Dr. Giblets pass through a couple of puzzles until he led me to the boss fight where, what? Dr. Giblets was Douglas? That tentacle bitch. This guy was more tedious than anything, but eventually my good little dog Kenny killed him. Compared to Kenny, the gun Douglas dropped was so annoying, like that one annoying black ex you got with no dad. Now, since we did the Douglas bounty first and got Sweezy, we can go home and start the next bounty, Karubis. And on the way to his office, we bribed this joy toy looking thing at the front desk, making it think we're the new boss, with Sweezy, and boss the toys around. Not much happened until the boss after that, but I did witness some dude crash out because he was having withdrawals. But anyways, I went over to use my warp disk and start the fight with Krubis, who for some reason loves drilling into your rectum non-stop like some butt doctor. And after 10 minutes of him just charging at me, he finally stopped moving so I could kill his ass and grabbed Gus, probably the chillest gun in the game. After returning home and turning in the bounty, I was so hyped to finally buy alien cum from this little dude because I had to beat the game with his load in my inventory, even though I wanted that shit all over me. Before Daddy Gene allowed me to go back and accept the next bounty, he told me I must go get a jetpack from this badass and go rest back at home. And in any normal High on Life fashion, we wake up on our roof outside the house, but with my newly jetpack equipped. I hop on home and start the next bounty, the Scrindle brothers. And in the midst of searching for them, I meet this pink receptionist again. And the only thing she does is alert the enemies that I'm there.
Yep, I'm gonna set off the alarm.
What a fucking whore. After mauling a bunch more G3, I head into the lab and find Creature and his little sperm dudes. And randomly, while in combat, I got the trophy for 20 grunt eyeballs. After finding the boss fight had like 5 phases, but were all relatively easy. And after the fight, Knifey had the time of his life, digging around in all 3 of their guts. After their fight, I once again go home to talk with Gene and go on another bounty. This time, we were given mag boots, which were pretty cool, letting us walk on walls. Back in Blim City, we meet this egg-shaped mayor, and he says he needs our help to kill all the G3 so we can win the election or some shit, even though we were kinda already doing it. But as we go to the boss, I was getting deprived from my dopamine, not getting any trophies for like an hour. But instead of another boss fight, this guy decides to randomly just off himself. So I guess I got what I wanted. Once we got home, Kenny asked me out on a little date that I had to pay for since I'm not a whore. And right after we headed out of the restaurant, another trophy popped up, but for some reason my screen just went black and I have no idea what trophy it is, but whatever. Another one for the books. On our way to Nipulon, I meet these 3 construction worker guys to get some special flour so I can do their little quest so that they can all homosexualize and create a bridge for me to grab the flour for the Goop Man.
Right, he could shit his goop all over you.
I go back to the Goop Man, I get cummed on again, to disguise myself and travel to Nipulon's lounge. Not much happens here, just more killing. And well, the pink whore again. Anyways, this was time for my favorite boss in the game, Nipulon. During the fight, he threatens me with a trophy like that'll work. And once I was done with him, I decided to carve out his nipple and headed home back to Gene. Because for once, he actually did something useful and fixed a gun for us. Let's do it!
Let's do it!
And now it's time to go after the big guy Garmantuous. And on the way there, I sadly had to say goodbye to Pseudo. I wouldn't get any more pee-pee touching for beating the final boss of the game. For Garmantuous, he was severely underwhelming, but I was surprised he can even move his fat ass as much as he was, hopping around everywhere. After shoving a bomb up his ass, he got back to life and started the second phase, which was super short. Kinda like your penis. But afterwards, all I had to do was sacrifice another gun other than Kenny into the rectum of this guy and blow him up because Kenny's just my favorite.
Richmond, that's my little G3 killer. Oh, look at you, G3 killer.
And now that we beat the game, it's time to get the last few achievements I was missing. For the first one, I headed back to Blim City to see the fart-faced drummer rise to fame on the TV. While I was there, I also went to Blordo's chef stand to grab all the warp discs under the counter and headed off to a warp dick location just to spam through them. Trampling over a whole city, going to the theaters and watching a movie, freaking playing Skate 3, deciding to kill one person or 5 people, fixing pipes to let this guy shit in this dude's face, and then just free loot, and, well, another trophy for doing all the warp bases. Now, for the secret ending, I just had to go to the mayor's office, grab his key card, and then eventually head over to Human Haven and do a bunch of jetpacking to get to these tunnels, and eventually caught the mayor in the act of being evil. But it was shortly lived, because more evil Tentacle Man killed him. Before the last 2 achievements, there of course was one RNG based trophy for seeing a specific countdown ad on the TV and watching the whole thing. And I had such bad luck for 3 hours doing this shit, but had to get it eventually. Ugh. And lastly, for the last 2 achievements, I had to go around the whole game collecting all 227 lug boxes and trading cards, which luckily go hand in hand because you get the trading cards from the boxes as well. This shit took me so damn long, but finally got it after 11 long hours. So that was High on Life, and honestly, I can't complain. That game was just so much fun, hilarious, and I'd probably do it again, not gonna lie. Anyways, whack.